You know that feeling when you splurge on a cheap espresso gadget that promises cafe-quality drinks at home, only to end up with lukewarm water, uneven extraction, and a frother that sputters more than it steams? I've been there, and I've also watched a lot of friends make the same mistake, buying something that looks good on paper but turns out to be a daily disappointment. So the question is, does the DeLonghi Rivelia automatic espresso machine feel like a smarter buy, or is it just another flashy promise? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. When I first started looking at automatic machines, the biggest hesitation for me was the fear of paying a premium for a device that would sit idle most mornings because it's too complicated or too finicky. I wanted something that could blend into a busy household, that would let my partner who barely knows coffee terminology push a button and get a latte that actually tastes like it came from a shop. At the same time, I didn't want to end up with a machine that required a PhD in espresso engineering to keep it running. That's why the Rivelia's one-touch claim caught my eye. It promises the simplicity of a pod machine with the quality of a Biantacup system. First off, the Rivelia is designed to be a true all-in-one unit. It houses 2 removable bean hoppers, which means you can keep a light roast and a dark roast side by side and switch between them without emptying the bin. In practice, that's a big win for families where taste preferences differ, or for anyone who likes to experiment with single-origin beans without committing the whole day's supply. The removable hoppers also make cleaning easier. You can pull them out, rinse, and drop them back in without fiddling with hard-to-reach corners. The automatic milk frother is another core piece of the puzzle. Most entry-level machines either skip the frother altogether or give you a manual one that requires constant attention to avoid scorching the milk. The Rivelia's frother works with a simple button press and handles both hot milk for cappuccinos and cold milk for iced lattes. I tried it with whole milk, oat milk, and even a low-fat soy blend. The whole milk produced a thick, velvety foam that held its shape for a minute or two, perfect for latte art if you're feeling fancy. The oat milk, which can be tricky because it's prone to separating, still came out with a decent microfoam, though the texture was a touch lighter. The soy milk was the most challenging. The frother managed to create a foam, but it was less stable, which is a common limitation of most frothers when dealing with plant-based milks. One of the things that set the Rivelia apart from many competitors is the step-by-step guidance on the display. When you first power it up, the machine walks you through a quick calibration. It asks you to fill the water tank, load beans into the hopper you want to use, and place a cup under the spout. After that, the interface prompts you to choose a drink profile: espresso, double espresso, lungo, or milk-based drinks. The guidance feels like a tutorial you'd get from a barista, which helps eliminate the guesswork that often makes new owners feel intimidated. For someone like my sister, who drinks coffee every morning but never bothered learning the intricacies of grind size or tamping pressure, that coach mode makes the machine feel approachable. Now, no machine is perfect, and the Rivelia has a few trade-offs that are worth noting before you click Add to Cart. First, the water tank sits at the back of the unit and holds about 1.8 liters. That's enough for a few cups, but if you're entertaining a group or running a small office, you'll find yourself refilling more often than you might like. The tank's position also means the machine takes up a little more countertop depth than a typical pod machine, so make sure you have a little wiggle room behind it. Second, the grind settings are managed internally and aren't exposed for manual adjustment. The machine decides the grind based on the selected drink type, which works fine for most people, but if you're a coffee nerd who likes to fine-tune the grind for a specific bean, you'll feel a little boxed in. The built-in grinder is decent for everyday use, and the coffee extraction is consistent, but you won't have the same level of control you'd get with a separate grinder and a semi-automatic espresso machine. Another practical consideration is the cleaning cycle. The Rivelia runs an automatic cleaning program for the brew group and the milk system, but you still need to decale the unit periodically, especially if you have hard water. The descaling process is straightforward. Just insert the descaling solution, press a button, and let the machine run through its cycle. That said, it does add a maintenance step that you have to remember, whereas some lower-priced machines simply skip the rinse and repeat steps altogether, and unfortunately, that's why they often fail faster. So, who should buy the DeLonghi Rivelia? If